everyone's talking about GST. I want to focus on GST for just a second. The decisions of the GST Council are taken by all members, which include state finance ministers. Today, there is an uproar on those decisions, which are formed by consensus. Do you think it's an attempt to politicize the issue more than anything else?
Look, most unfortunately, GST Council is a council in which the agenda brought forward by the government is almost in every situation adopted, and the will of the government prevails. That is, whatever the BJP wants to push through in the GST Council is ultimately pushed through and is culminated into a decision which is called as the collective decision of the GST Council. Only a person who has no understanding of basic economics will come up with this harebrained idea of imposing 5% GST on pulses, wheat, flour, rice, curd, etc., jaggery, etc., at a time when India's food inflation is at a 95-month high, at a time when India's retail inflation is at a 90-month high, at a time when the unemployment is rapidly increasing, rupee is devalued to an extent we have never seen, and when the economic environment around us is in a state of distress, this is the time to put more money in the pockets of the people rather than imposing an indirect tax like this. And even if the government, I understand there must be a dilemma before the government, which tax to raise and how to go about it in order to fill up its coffers.
Yes.
Let me tell you that direct tax is a tax in simple terms, like income tax, which is levied on the rich. That is, it is in proportion to your income.
Raghav, I understand that, but I'm talking about the structure of the GST Council. Mr. Manish Sisodia, the Finance Minister of Delhi, is also part of this GST Council. The Finance Minister, the Union Finance Minister, Nirmala Sitharaman, today has said that these were decisions which were identified as per consensus. Everyone had a voice on this. Has Mr. Sisodia placed on record that he was not agreeable to this?
The Aam Aadmi Party's Aam Aadmi Party's finance ministers, that of Delhi and that of Punjab, are not in majority. Aam Aadmi Party doesn't decide the agenda of the GST Council. Aam Aadmi Party cannot push through reforms or changes or imposition of taxes in the GST Council. We are an endangered minority in the GST Council. So the question has to be put before the Honorable Finance Minister, Ms. Sitharaman. Why did she bring this bill? Why did she bring this increase?
No, the reason I ask this again is because the state of Kerala put on record that they were against this. Soon after the GST Council, I had the opportunity to speak with the Tamil Nadu Finance Minister who said he was for it. So the decisions in the GST Council, and you know this very well,
I will certainly check with my finance ministers as to how did...
are often not on political lines. They are made from a very different lens.
I'm saying... I will most certainly check how did we place our dissent, whether it was an oral dissent or whether it was a written dissent, or the dissent was put forward while the discussion on this was going on within the GST Council. I wasn't present in the council, so I can't comment on it. But let me tell you, we are an endangered minority in it. Whatever the government of India wants, they push through that, and therefore the question has to go to the government of India.
But I want to talk about this parliament session, Raghav, which seems to be set for a lot of storminess. We've already seen the opposition come together. Do you think you're seeing any opposition unity, or has the whole presidential race sort of splintered it completely? With the choice of candidate of the NDA, a lot of members of opposition parties have chosen to vote and said they will vote for Draupadi Murmu. Do you think that it was a mistake, the consensus candidate and the choice was a mistake, looking at what the NDA came up with?
I think we as the media or the opinion shapers talk a lot about opposition unity. I think we need to talk about the will of the government to run the house. Today, as a member of the house, what I saw was that the government was least interested in running the house. They were wanted that the house should get adjourned at the very first instance and adjourned for the day. So therefore, the question should be put to the government as to whether they actually want the house to run, or they're only doing this khana purti, as I say, by calling a session and immediately adjourning it. Mr. Arun Jaitley once very famously said that it is incumbent upon the government of the day to run the house, not on the opposition. The opposition has several agendas, several important topics to highlight. The government of the day can permit a short duration discussion on those issues and then move forward with its legislative business. But I personally feel that the government doesn't seem to be interested in running the parliament.
I must ask you a broader opposition question here. And you said that, we like to keep talking about opposition unity, but it is an important political sort of arc to follow. What, in your view, is the health of opposition unity? There seem to be different power centers trying to fill the vacuum by a Congress. The Aam Aadmi Party is not very comfortable with platforms where the Congress is showcased prominently. You have the TMC there also coming into prominence. Do you think that there is any modicum of opposition unity right now?
I don't wish to comment on opposition unity. I've said that again. It is not of consequence to my mind. I think as far as opposition, the term opposition or providing an alternative is concerned, whether it's inside the house or outside the house, out on the streets, there is today only one party and one leader that has the fire in the belly to challenge the BJP, that is the Aam Aadmi Party and Arvind Kejriwal. And therefore I say that Congress doesn't have what it takes to challenge the BJP. Aam Aadmi Party certainly has what it takes to challenge the BJP, and therefore I feel Aam Aadmi Party is going to be a national and the natural replacement of the Congress.
What about Mrs. Mamata Banerjee? Does she have the fire in the belly?
Oh, she's absolutely a fighter. I have huge amount of respect for her and my best wishes to her.